I want to do some short videos about playing piano. Today, it's what I call the three-handed piano technique. Now, you notice I have two hands, right? It takes a while to master this, but it will get you into the big leagues of piano playing if you really practice this. And also, it's fun. This technique is akin to juggling. Not that I'm a juggler, but jugglers have two hands and they have three balls, which means you can't pay attention to all three of them at once. Now, on the piano, there are three strata. First, it's the bass. Second, it's the mid-range. Now, the mid-range is where all these really cool answer chords are. Third is the upper, where the melody and the solos live. So I'm going to cover some basics for players who need them, but this video covers in detail how to practice for all levels. If you're more advanced, you just take what you see here and map it onto the practice for your latest song. So we're going to use blues for our vocabulary, and we'll play in the key of F. Now, F is a great starter key for blues. Let's take the three strata and construct them using the three most common chords in an F blues. Here are three basic chords for today. F7, B flat 7, C7. Now, these are all four-note chords. The chord tones of each chord are 1, 3, 5, and flat 7. Take this C chord to demonstrate. Now, in C major, all the notes are natural. In other words, all white keys, right? If you take those notes for your chords, skipping one note between each one, you'll have a pretty seventh chord, but it's not the kind we're looking for right now. We're looking for the bluesy one. In other words, the one with the flat 7. So the C is the root of first degree, the E is the third, the G is the fifth, and the seventh is a B, and the flat 7 is a B flat. So it's lowered by a half step. All three chords are built from exactly the same intervals. I'm showing you what we call closed position, root position chords here. These are the most basic construction of these chords and possibly the easiest to play. No chord tones are skipped in a closed position chord. So the interval between each note, a major third, a minor third, and then a minor third. There's the opening note. This is a major third between these two, then a minor third between these two, and then a minor third between these two. Same thing here. Major third, minor third, minor third. Now, if you're not so up on intervals, there's 4 half steps between that note and the second note. That's a major third, it's 4 half steps. Then between this note, that's 3, and then 1, 2, 3. 4 half steps, 3 half steps, and 3 half steps. By contrast, chords that have skips between the chord tones are referred to as open position chords, or sometimes spread voicings. Now, here's an example of a spread voicing. This is very spread because I play the C, and then I skip the E, I skip the G, and play the B flat. And then for the next one, I skip the C and skip the E and play a G. For the next one, I skip the B flat, skip the C, and play the E. Notice the difference. It's obviously the same chord, but it feels a lot different. Keep these terms in your back pocket for later. Again, each one has the exact same chord tones, 1, 3, 5, and flat 7, each just starting on a different pitch for its root. You can hear that, right? Now onto the 3 strata. For the lowest, let's use these fifths. F, and which is the root, and then C for the F7 chord, then B flat and F for the B flat 7 chord, and C and G for the C7 chord. Now note the root is on the bottom and the fifth is above it, which in this case is C for the F and C. And this is in all cases, so it's going to introduce some leaping, right? So the B flat is on the bottom and F is its fifth. And then for the C7 chord, the C is on the bottom and the G is its fifth. So in the middle, we're going to use the chord tones we left out of the bass strata, right? So we had roots and fifths in the bass strata. Now we're going to use the thirds and sevenths. Like if you look at this F7 chord, and I drop out the root and the fifth, then third and seventh are the A and E flat. For the second chord, which is a B flat chord, it's A flat and D. And for the final chord, which is the C7 chord, it's B flat and E. Now, why are these seldom used in the low range? So you can use your taste and intuition to decide where a voicing should be. And it can even be different from piano to piano. For instance, that fifth sounds pretty good on this piano in this range, but on an upright it would be incredibly muddy. So getting back to the thirds and sevenths, notice on the F7 chord, the thirds and sevenths from low to high, the way we have it voiced here, the third is lower and the seventh is higher. A is the third, E flat is the flat seventh of F7. Now notice on the B flat chord, from low to high, A flat is the flat seventh of B flat, and D is the third. And what that means is that these chord tones are flipped between the first two chords, the third and seventh versus the seventh and third. Now notice on the C7 chord, from low to high, B flat is the flat seven, and E is the third. So motion between these dyads. A dyad is a two-note structure, by the way. From F7 to B flat 7, you go from here, which is the third and the seventh, to B flat 7. It's easy. It's just down a half step. B flat 7 to F. It's easy. It's just up a half step. F7 to C7. It's easy. Both notes go up a half step. C7 to B flat 7. It's easy. Both notes go down 2 half steps or a whole step. B flat 7 goes from here to here, which is both up a half step. So they're all right in the same area. Now, this is great voice leading, and the reason why is because the notes of the chord in this answer chord region are picked for smooth movement between the chords. Right? Next thing is the blues scale. So blues scale is 6 notes. And in F, it's F, A flat, B natural, C, E flat. And this is really easy to finger. This is one reason it's really cool to use F. So you would just use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's your blues scale. And then on the way back down, it's 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now, you can go as many octaves up or down as you want to. And it's just going to be the same thing the whole time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you can use 4 when you turn around on the F, the top F. And then you're going to go 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Because it's just the reverse, right? That's it, the blues scale. Now, the geography of the blues scale. It's 1 white key and 2 black keys, 2 white keys and 1 black key. That's it. 1 white, 2 black, 2 white, 1 black, 1 white, 2 black, 2 white, 1 black, 1 white, 2 black, 2 white, 1 black, and then the ring finger, and then back around. This is actually an excellent way to practice it, is just to practice them almost as chords. Now, to improvise, you're going to make up little curlicues and patterns. You know, basically things that sound harder than they are. like that. Sometimes if you just have a little space, like I'm just in the range of a fifth and I just want to do this, like that. I don't even do the crossover. I just use all 5 fingers. But like that, right? Last thing, here's the form of one kind of 12-bar blues. Basically, each letter is a bar. And so we have 1 bar of F, 1 bar of B flat, the 3rd bar is F again, the 4th bar is F. 5th bar is B flat, 6th bar is B flat, 7th bar is F, 8th bar is F. 9th bar is C, 10th is B flat, the 11th bar is F, and then we'll go ahead and do the turnaround on the 12th bar with C. So here's what that would sound like. I'm going to put it in just like a little groove rhythm. So it'd be 2, 3, 4. And 4th bar, 5th bar. Then we have our C, B flat, F for the 11th bar, C for the 12th bar. Now back to the top. And so on. So each chord gets 1 bar, in some case 2 bars. And the way I have it shown here is that each written chord is a bar. I wrote a new letter name every time there's a bar. Remember, of course, these are all 7th chords, right? Editor Reed here. So it turns out that this video got a little long, and I'm going to cut it into a few videos. So you just watched the first one. That's the basics one. What comes next is your practice schedule. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And I'll have it for you on Tuesday, a week from now. See you soon.